Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the country. And don't you forget it, everybody. I'm your host, Robert Butler. Going to get into the NFC South. Some interesting storylines. We all know Tampa's going to be good, really good, probably the number one overall seed. Carolina's interesting. The Falcons are interesting. Now Carolina's got a new quarterback there with Sam Darnold. How is that going to work out? How's the rest of the roster going to work out? Got a tougher schedule than I originally thought. We'll get into that. Talk about the NFC South. Make some predictions. Break down a few games there. Saw Hard Knocks last night. Looked like a marketing video of the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones rather than an actual traditional Hard Knocks. Get into that. But first, the best advice that I've ever gotten from everybody, is staying true to yourself. Not just, I'm talking mentors, people I didn't know that I looked up to as role models, people I did, spiritual advisors, family members I looked up to. The best advice: stay true to yourself and do not worry about what other people think of you. I'm trying to get into the radio business, okay? And the people I've always looked up to, whether they be a political talk show host, sports talk show host, people that are successful, entertainment, business, people like Chris Gardner, criticized for doing what he did with that internship and the great movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. So you can't worry about that. And once I started doing that, that's what gave me the confidence to do this. That's what gave me the confidence to really stop listening to the naysayers out there. And I say all that because Rachel Nichols was essentially fired from ESPN. She's taken off they took her off all the NBA coverage. They took her show away. She's still under contract for like a year, from my understanding. It's not officially said that. She's just not there, And this in the same week, there's a report. Andrew Merchant out of the New York Post. This guy covers a lot of this stuff. Max Kellerman was taken off of First Take. He's going to do another show. Stephen A. Smith now is there's rumors that he's trying to put together something with Magic Johnson, get a whole nother format going there. There's speculation he may go out of sports. But all this started from Rachel Nichols. We all know about if you don't know, I'll give you a quick refresher course. During the George Floyd thing went down last year, ESPN just went up to Rachel Nichols and said, well, we're going to take you off this jump and we're going to put Maria Taylor, someone who's 12 years younger than you, by the way, that much less experience. We're going to put her on there. Now, why would they so blunt about that? Why would they so freely to come up with Rachel? Because she jumped into that political she thought to save her job if she bought into the wokeness. What is woke? What is woke? WOKE. Woke is social issues, political, all that stuff. All this political issues, and that a lot of these people being mistreated or whatever, what race, nationality, and everything. And most of this stuff is wildly exaggerated. The data does not bear what is being said, And about 2012, about 9 years ago, ESPN went down this road of getting away from sports. They just got away from sports all of a sudden. They treated a college football player, Michael Sam, who come out as being gay when he was going through the NFL draft process and minicamp process, and kissing his boyfriend on national TV, and the ESPN treated him like he was a war hero. That totally just, and then they put people like Caitlyn Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner, converts to a woman. They give him a Courage Award at their ESPY Awards. They start doing specials on African American blacks being shot by the police and getting athletes. They started getting so far away. A lot of this is because their ratings were dropping because of cord cutting and everything. And it's this Deadspin website, which is, by the way, they're out of business, by the way. They've been out of business for since 2019 because they got away from sports. Okay? They're still not learning. So that's a quick refresher. This is a lot more details to this, but she jumped on that. And, I listen to Jason Whitlock a lot, and he says a lot of these people, and I would imagine even Rachel Nichols, they believe in some of this stuff, but they really don't. They think that if I play the game, I'll be okay. If I say this stuff that I'm not even hired for. Love Rachel Nichols. Been in there since 2001 with ESPN. College basketball, very attractive, intelligent. 7 years watching, earned her keep, right? And of course, she did eventually marry somebody from ABC, and that helped too. But she also had experience. But she thought, well, I see where this is going, so I'm going to jump in this woke arena. This far left-wing politics has nothing to do with sports, and that's a big turnoff by ESPN. So I'm going to jump in here so I'll be safe so they won't come for me because I'll be a racist, in air quotes. And the old saying for Rachel Nichols is, the more you feed the alligator, eventually when you run out of food, you're going to get ate last, and that's what happened to Rachel Nichols. You say, what about Max Kellerman? From what I hear, people that know Max Kellerman, they say he is pretty woke. He's genuinely woke. He likes all these ridiculous takes that Stephen A. Smith says about white privilege and all this, offensive, racist, untrue statements he makes. Has nothing to do with sports and rarely gets his facts right. Black people are oppressed and all this nonsense, right? And what it was Stephen A. Smith doesn't believe a lot of that stuff. He's personal friends with guys who are totally opposite of that. Sean Hannity, Mark Levine, but he's a polarizing figure. He's a grandstander. He knows that's good for ratings. Apparently, it is good for ratings. But you got another guy agreeing with you all the time. Nobody wants to watch. There's no discourse. And meanwhile, you're irritating the fire out of somebody like me who know that's just nonsense. Not only because I lived in a real world, because I know the data doesn't state any of that stuff. The statistics, the studies don't. And of course, the people on the other side say, well, I got this study that says this. Well, I got 5 more that says it's nonsense, sir. Okay? So basically, Stephen A. Smith vowed to get rid of Max Kellerman. I think because, personally, in my opinion, because he thought the show was a drag. He thought the show was just a bore, a drag. But going back to Nichols, she thought that, maybe I just do this, that they'll come after me. And they thought that the executives like, nah, we this will look good if we put Maria in that spot. And then, of course, she got caught on a live mic, and now she's completely fired. But since they started doing this, since they went woke and went far left-wing politics versus sports, the president, this guy named John Skipper, he's been gone. Dan Le Batard, your wokester's gone. Bomani Jones, Mr. Everything's Racist guy, they keep canceling his shows. He's gone. Rachel Nichols jumped head first into that. Now they got rid of her. And Stephen A. Smith, the guy who claims that blacks are oppressed and everything is racist. Well, he makes $12 million a year. He's the highest paid employee for ESPN. So it's total nonsense. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't gone. This is so bad for ESPN right now that ESPN is considering getting out of the local sports talk radio market and just staying with national stuff. Other words, not even having a local affiliate anymore. They're getting beat by The Fan in New York City. Very popular, very, very popular radio station. It's because of crap like this. And anybody that has a contrary opinion, I say just get out of politics. I've been said, just get out of this stuff, But if you have a moderate to right-wing opinion of these political and social issues that you should not be talking about in the first place, you're a racist, according to ESPN. Ask Kurt Schilling. Okay? So it is what it is at ESPN. But over time, you start to see guys like me are right, about what's happened. They're crumbling. They're a house of cards. They've also lost money from overbidding for NBA, cord cutting, but mainly it's that far left wing politics that they want to, and social issues that are controversial, has nothing to do with sports. None of these, and they want to pull that in there. And people, like Jay-Z said, and I don't mean to sound repetitive, I came to the club to get that off my mind. I came to ESPN. I came to sports to get all that nonsense off my mind. I know we got some serious things going on in the world right now. I want to talk about this stuff. There's a lot of stuff I could be talking about outside of sports. I know what happened today, overseas. But this is escapism. People don't want to that believe that nonsense. The very little bit of people and the executives, they don't want to believe that people, any poll that you do, most sports fans want to escape all this. Most people work boring 9-to-5 jobs. I like my job and stuff, but that's not a career job. I look forward. We are 2 weeks away from the NFL. We're 1 week away from college. This stuff is escapism for the crap that I have to deal with during the day, for the traffic I had to deal with, for the nonsense. I don't want to hear more nonsense when I turn to the sports. I don't want to hear that stuff, And ESPN is reaping what they sow more than they sold. Okay. But yeah. So Max Keller, he and Rachel Nichols are the two latest there to fall to the wokeism of ESPN. Okay, Hard Knocks. Actually, I'm gonna skip Hard Knocks. A lot of I told you so. Teddy Bridgewater. Now you look at this Drew Lock thing with Denver. I looked at Vic Fangio and I said to myself, this guy is on the hot seat of hot seats. He's probably on the hottest seat of any coach this season in the league, okay? In the NFL, 32 teams. He's on the hottest seat. And everybody else is saying, well, give Drew Lock one more year. And I said, no. Watch a lot of this stuff. I play a lot of high-stakes daily fantasy. I watch those 3:30 p.m. Central games. And Drew Lock is throwing that ball way up in the stands half the time. I mean, it's way off. And half the time, he don't even get going to the third or fourth quarter when the game is 2-3 scores out of reach. And on the other side, you got a guy like Teddy Bridgewater. When you got a defense that is projected to be as good as Denver is, Pro Football Focus has Denver as the number one offense coming in. Patrick Surtain, Fuller, the cornerback from Chicago. Big loss for Chicago. Big gain for them. Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, decent running game. Love that running back. I'll eventually talk about the AFC West. There they have a puncher's chance. But you got a guy like Teddy Bridgewater. He's the ultimate stopgap quarterback. Kind of reminds me of an Alex Smith. Okay. If you're down late in the game, there's a chance he's probably not going to get that 2-minute drill. But the thing about him, he's not going to turn the football over. One of the lowest turnover quarterbacks in the league. Not going to make the spectacular throw. He'll follow your game plan to the T. When you got a defense like that, he's the ideal guy. And after this season, whether they go after a Aaron Rodgers or this Deshaun Watson thing blows over, Watson said he would like to play in Denver. Rodgers didn't really balk at it. The ultimate stopgap quarterback to save Vic Fangio's job, give him one more year, would be a Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe he can get them at 8-8. Maybe they can get that third wild card. That third wild card is going to be very highly competitive. Okay. I think that's going to be between Baltimore, the Colts, the LA Chargers. I'm really confident New England's going to get that wild card in the AFC East. Okay. Like Tennessee in the South to win the division, of course. And Buffalo to win the East, but that can be they can be in the running. Now, if they're very close, I would probably keep Fangio if we knew that we had a shot, maybe, the general manager here of the Broncos to get a Aaron Rodgers or a Deshaun Watson. But with his defense, running game, you put those quarterbacks in there, and then you got a shot at Super Bowl. You got a shot at that division. Because eventually, that heavy contract is going to kick in for Patrick Mahomes. I don't have them going back to the Super Bowl anyways this year, talking about Kansas City. No team has ever been to 3 consecutive Super Bowls in the salary cap era in 1994. My point is, totally agree with Big Fangio, Teddy Bridgewater. I'll make one prediction for you. I want to say they opening up against the Giants. I'm going to take the Giants in that game. Now I'm taking Denver, even at the Meadowlands. But I'll get into that next week. I'm going to do the South here in a minute. The AFC South. In other news, again, not to pat myself on the back. Rams, we're not going to get another running back. We like who we got now. Thumb injury, Darrell Henderson. Not really sure how that's going to play out. They made a trade, sent some late-round draft picks for Sony Michel. Last year, I played a lot of fantasy with that team as well, New England. They're about 3 or 4 deep at running back. Michel is a shell of the player. He did not have the season last year that he's had in previous seasons. Him and Nick Chubb came in the same year, and he was drafted over Nick Chubb. There was a lot of fuss about that. And it was one of the reporters said something about it, some blue checkmark person on Twitter. And I came back at him and I said, well, now, the reason why Michel was drafted over Chubb, because Chubb come off a serious injury his last year at the University of Georgia. I knew Chubb was more talented, but they didn't know. The scouts didn't know. The Patriots didn't know how well he would come back, if he would come back to be that form he was before. It's like an ACL or some very serious injury, Nick Chubb. But now, Sony Michel just doesn't seem right. He just don't quite seem right. But the Rams are desperate now. Cam Akers was out for the season. They need a running game. They had the number 1 defense in the league last year. And as soon as they lost Andrew Whitworth late in the season, then the criticisms of Jared Goff started coming in. Okay? So they find a way to get to the playoffs. They beat Seattle. Then Aaron Donald gets banged up. He's on the sideline, and they get beat in the Green Bay game. They're a very top-heavy team. They're trading away draft picks constantly. Then they turn around and trade draft picks, and they trade Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford. They traded for Jalen Ramsey, but now they're letting guys like Johnson go at safety. They let another cornerback go. They're not a very deep team. They're hanging on by threads. Les Snead is a gambler, all-in kind of guy. Could work out for them. I think they'll look good early. While Whitworth, 39-year-old left tackle there, while he's healthy, they may look like world beaters. I got a feeling they're going to knock out Tampa in week 3 because Tampa's going to be looking forward to the New England game. I got a feeling they're going to knock out Tampa, and then they'll probably beat New England late in the game. Brady's probably figure out a way to win it in the end. But my point is, Tampa will lose one of them games, but it's a better chance that this Rams team that beat Tampa last year in Tampa, by the way, they knocked them out. And everybody's going to put them, all your guys, which I'm way better. I mean, these clowns, they pop perversely. They get analyze everything. They're going to put them as winners of the West, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl pickles, and everything's going to be everything. And I'm thinking, yeah, Whitworth's going to go down about week 10, 11. We've got 17 games, guys, this year, and Matt Stafford is going to look a lot like Jared Goff with the stronger arm. I like Tampa. I like San Francisco in that division. I understand that Seattle's going to be strong as well. But they will fall off as the season goes along. That's my early prediction. Now, we'll break down that division a little bit later. But, I mean, they had to do what they had to do. I don't know if I'd went after Sony Michel Pickles because he wasn't the same player last year as he was the year before that. Maybe that was an undisclosed nagging injury. Maybe he's over that. We'll see. We shall see. Again, the Hard Knocks thing. I mean, I like the drone tour too. I like the I like the stadium. It's beautiful. I get it, but it's looking more like a infomercial for the Dallas Cowboys and not like a program that shows players trying to make the team and storylines. It turns into that. Jerry Jones flying in the helicopter. Yeah, we get it, Jerry. We understand stuff like that. That's why you haven't won a Super Bowl in 25 plus years, and you're the most valuable franchise in the entire world. $5+ billion franchise, So that was what I got from it. Now, of course, where are they now, Pickles? Where are they now? Joe Philbin. I noticed their offensive line coach. I don't know if you caught this, Pickles. Joe Philbin. I was wondering, where's Waldo? Where is he now? Joe Philbin, in case you don't remember, he was the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins during that debacle 2014-2015 season where Richie Incognito got caught up in the bullying scandal of what's this other guy's name? Jonathan Martin, and him kind of sitting back and letting all that nonsense happen there. Joe Philbin. So he was the head coach there. He was fired, and now the Detroit Lions coach, now the Detroit Lions head coach, Dan Campbell, he was the interim coach. He took over for that Miami team late in the season. They looked good early. And then, like I said, he's big emotional, rah-rah guy. Looked real good early. And then the team fell apart towards the end. They never hired him. He went on to be a tight ends coach. So Joe Philbin now is, you could tell he's a bad hire because he's never even been an offensive coordinator. And that was 5 years ago. So he's the offensive line coach for the Dallas Cowboys. And my point was, Pickles, like you said, he totally let that get out of hand. You can't. That's what being passive gets you. I talked about that last week, Pickles, with Steve Kerr. When you see it's a bully, guys are great players, Draymond Green, but you gotta pop a bully early. You cannot you cannot give a bully your lunch money every day. You cannot ignore a bully. I've tried that. Richie Incognito was a bully. And the teams see that, bullies see that, and he was a passive guy that let stuff get out of hand, and unlike a person like me who will not take that crap, But another note, I saw surprised to see Amari Cooper says he wanted to get his confidence back. Pickles, did you catch that? The number one receiver for the Dallas Cowboys says that he's trying to get his confidence back. You could say that in private, but you never say something like that in public, okay? If you're an active player. Now, my only school of thought behind that is he's got a $100 million contract with the Dallas Cowboys. Colin Cowherd mentions it all the time. Jerry Jones pays great, good players, great money all the time. Great money. Now, I've liked the guy over the years. I liked him when he was at the Raiders. He had some great moments at the Dallas Cowboys. But now he's up there saying he needs to get his confidence back. Give me a break. He would never say that if he was in his fourth year as a second-round pick and not re-signed. But like you said, Pickles, I'm watching a lot of the films that Pro Football Focus and some of these reporters are putting out, and I seen the catch that CeeDee Lamb made against Jalen Ramsey when they scrimmaged last week. I've seen I remember what CeeDee Lamb did. My guess is CeeDee Lamb will rise up and be the number one guy there. More news out of Dallas camp is that Dak Prescott is no longer on a pitch count. Adam Schefter is got a podcast. He's trying to promote that podcast. He's going around saying, sources saying that Dak Prescott's going to have a nagging injury all year and he's not going to be back up to himself. Then he had to backtrack on that because that was never said to him. Then he said, that's kind of my opinion. Well, either you're a reporter or you're not. So I think that he's going to be okay. Could be wrong here. Could be wrong. But I think Dak's probably going to be back. They're going to score a lot of points. They've got a healthy offensive line this year. I like Micah Parsons. I like the cornerback they brought into the secondary. I like the fact that Zeke Elliott is lighter. I like the other running back they got. They're going to have the best offense in this division. It's not saying a lot. I get it. The most complete team possibly would be Washington. But when you've got Micah Fitzpatrick or Ryan Fitzpatrick, a hot and cold guy, and a guy that's really unknown, Tyler Heineke, that's hard call. That's a tough call to make, man. Hold on there, guys. Let me rechange out my thing here. Stop recording there. And now we're back again. 30 minutes into the podcast. Man, I tell you, time goes by quick there, Pickles. So that's my thought. It looks, Hard Knocks looks more like a Jerry Jones infomercial for the Dallas Cowboys, Pickles, than it does for an actual football competitive show. Let me get a swig of water. We're going to go over the NFC South. Okay, Atlanta Falcons. We'll start off there. Atlanta Falcons got a new coach this year. No major news there. They've got Arthur Smith, Pickles. And Arthur Smith is he's the former offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans here out of Nashville, and he is the guy is the son of the founder of FedEx, and I'll give it to him. If you hear him talk and interview, he doesn't sound like he was on Rich Eisen. He's very down to earth guy. I could tell he was raised right. He's a year younger than me, 38, 39. And he is a very aggressive. I was down on him. I was like, who the bleep is this guy? Tight ends coach, offensive. He's turned out to be a great offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. Big on the play action pass. He would have Ryan Tannehill, resurrected Ryan Tannehill's career. Made Adam Gase look bad, because Tannehill did so much better here in Tennessee. Arthur Smith is the kind of guy that will call 3 passing plays in a row if needed. He will call 3 running plays in a row if needed. I like his red zone offense with Tennessee. Very aggressive. He has me fooled with some of their sharp plays, well scripted, well executed plays in the red zone, Pickles. This team's going to be very aggressive. They just don't have any defense. They're paying Matt Ryan $40-something million in dead money. He's taking up a lot of cap. They have a lot of this cap issues, and they can't get rid of the guy. They can't get rid of him. I mean, if they cut him next year, Pickles, it will be $40 million in dead money. If they cut him after that year, that number, 2023, it goes down to 15. Maybe they can trade him. But they also brought in, going back to the Falcons had one of the worst defenses in the league last year. Not good on the road. Typical Atlanta Falcons. Could never hold a lead. I don't think they're going to be that much different this year because of the personnel. But they brought in Dean Pease. That was the former defensive coordinator of the Titans in 2019 when Tennessee made it to the end of the AFC Championship game there. That guy went into retirement. Tennessee had a horrible pass rush last year. Now they brought in Jim Schwartz to help out with the defense. The running defense will be better, but the passing defense may be a little bit better, but I expect it to be in the 20s because he's not a very good and plus Tennessee's got a young secondary. But Dean Pease is not a bad defensive coordinator. They'll be a little bit better, my point is, because they didn't do anything as far as personnel to upgrade anywhere. I mean, they offensively, they made some good. They got some new additions. They got rid of Todd Gurley, who is just not himself anymore. They took on his bad contract last year, which was ridiculous. But they brought in Mike Davis. Who's Mike Davis? Mike Davis, very good fantasy player. When Christian McCaffrey from the Carolina Panthers, when he went out, Mike Davis was rock solid, Pickles. I think he had 2 touchdowns against this team. And then, somebody that's still with maybe Arthur Blank that's still with the Atlanta Falcons said, hey, why don't we pick him up? So they got Mike Davis. Mike Davis is not a bad running back, and they drafted Cal Pitts. Some are saying probably the best overall prospect in the draft, other than maybe Trevor Lawrence, but you see how slow of a start, though. I think he's going to fill in quite nicely. Arthur Smith loves to use tight ends. My thing is Jonnu Smith wasn't that consistent of a player, but he loves to use the tight ends, throw the ball to the tight end, screen to the tight end, go deep to the tight end, maybe use a tight end pass. So between Cal Pitts, the sensational player out of Florida, and their other tight end, I'm trying to figure out his name there. We used him. I don't think they even used him enough last year. This other guy, Hayden Hurst, their tight end last year, had a decent season. We'll say he had 10 touchdowns. So even this guy's young, 20 years old. Calvin Ridley, Still go. Now, they did lose Alex back at center, but they've got 7 on their offense coming back with a now 36, going to turn 37-year-old Matt Ryan. They're going to be a fun team to watch. They're going to be a great fantasy team. They're going to be a great fantasy team for you, daily fantasy. By the way, I'm going to shout out to Ron from Michigan, my friend at work from ABC. New listener to the podcast there, asking me the other day, he's like, who's this Pickles? I said, well, that's one of my regulars. That's who Pickles is. So he was asking me about daily fantasy and Atlanta Pickles. They're going to be the same Atlanta Falcons. They're going to score a lot of points, and they're going to give up a lot of points. What Arthur Smith is wanting to do for the next 2 years with Matt Ryan is he wants Ryan to get that confidence back. Arthur Blank wants Arthur Smith, the 2 authors, right? Hello, Arthur, to get that swagger back from Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, this Atlanta Falcons team has blown more leads going back to that Super Bowl against the Patriots. I mean, they blew 17-point lead, Pickles, to the Bucs last year. They blew a lead to the Dallas Cowboys last year. So they're going to be a fun team to watch. I've got them winning. Let's see. They lost Julio. Probably addition by subtraction. Julio's going to be motivating Tennessee. They've got Russell Gage at wide receiver. They've got Hayden Hurst. They've got Kyle Pitts. They've got a fair offensive line. They've got Mike Davis. They don't have anybody on defense. I mean, the one player, Pickles, I recognized on defense, I got cut because he got in trouble. Martavius Mangold, so he's no longer on the team. Now, they do have Dante Fowler, but you got a lot of no-names here. They need a whole new defense. Tackles, linebackers, corners, you name it. Like I said, they got a second-round pick from Tennessee and a third round next year and a third-round pick in 2023 to 6th-round pick. So they need that. They need to trade. I would have tried to trade Matt Ryan this year and got one of those quarterbacks, but that's all history now. It's all done. I don't know. I'm thinking 3-14, 4-13, possibly 5-12. They'll be picking in the top 10 again next year. But they'll be a fun team to play against. They'll be a fun team. Guys like Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst, Kyle Pitts, Mike Day, all those guys will be interesting. For instance, like they opened up the season at home against another crappy team, Philadelphia. Well, that's one you want to look at Kyle Pitts, On the other side, maybe that will be a Jalen Hurts game on the other side because he's going against Atlanta's defense. So I think they'll win that one. And then they play at Jacksonville, Pickles. The 28 could possibly win that. They got Detroit in Atlanta, and they could possibly win that. And they may upset the Saints, and they very, very well upset the Panthers. So that's about 6 games. Okay? Don't expect a lot out of them. Now, moving on to the Carolina Panthers. Now, this Panther team is, I thought about putting them in the playoffs for several weeks now. They got Sam Darnold in a trade. They gave up, what did they give up for Sam Darnold? A second-round pick in 2021, which is already, the Jets have already used a 6th-round pick, and next year they got a 4th-round pick for the Jets. Sam Darnold moved off of Teddy Bridgewater, played about how I thought he would play. Darnold, a little bit more talent, stronger arm, actually more athletic than a Teddy Bridgewater. This team, they did re-sign Robbie Anderson. Anderson used to play with Darnold Pickles with the Jets, had a really good season there. So they've re-signed him. They re-signed their left tackle. They've got DJ Moore. They brought in David Moore there. And so they're going to have a good running game. Christian McCaffrey will be back healthy. Now, Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard was the guy from Oklahoma State. He was one of these wokesters. He had an issue with that knucklehead coach up there about a shirt he had on. Long story short, it cost his draft. Guy's a pretty good running back, good player, but he fell to like the 4th round. So the Carolina Panthers have a steal there. They have a decent offensive line. It's not great. They had the youngest defense in the league last year. Guys like Derek Brown turned out to be a pretty good draft pick last year. He's going to be in his second year. Players make their biggest jump from year 1 to year 2. Dante Jackson at corner, little banged up last year, but he's pretty good. I saw a lot of him. And, of course, they drafted J.C. Horn. If that name sounds familiar, because that's Joe Horn's son, the former New Orleans Saint. Guy gets drafted in the same division as dad. That's interesting. So they got 8 players on that young defense coming back. But Pickles, I looked at their schedule, man. They were 5-11 last year. They did beat a playoff team last year. I want to say that they beat Washington at Washington in week 16. But the next week they lost 7-33 to the New Orleans Saints. Went 5-11 last year. Now this year they start off against the Jets at home, the Saints at home, at Houston. That's 3-0. Don't think they're going to beat at Dallas in week 4. I think Dallas will be desperate there. I think Dallas will win, but they've got Philadelphia in week 5. So that's 4 out of the first 5. I think Minnesota beats them. Probably would lose to this giant team on the road, but then they got to play at Atlanta. I got them beat Atlanta, but down the stretch, they got to play New England. They got to play at Arizona. Arizona's very strong in Arizona. Very strong. Can beat anybody in Arizona. I don't have them winning that game. And then they got to play at Miami the next week. So that's 2 from November 14th, Pickles, to the 28th, which is Thanksgiving weekend. At Arizona, Washington home, at Miami before your bye week. That could be 3 losses. I at least have them losing 2 there. They got their bye. They'll beat Atlanta home, but then they got to go to Buffalo, a team that was in the AFC Championship game and is probably going to be in the AFC Championship game this year. And then, unfortunately, 2 out of the next 3 games, you got to play Tampa. Tampa's fighting for the 1 seed. I don't think they're as good as Tampa. So Tampa's going to win both of those games. So you look at their wins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins and 9 losses. Could they turn around and upset a Tampa? Yes. Could they beat at the Giants? Yes, possibly. But the schedule just doesn't make. But if they get 8 wins, that's 3 games better than the year before on still one of the youngest teams in the NFL. So I just don't think they're going to get in there. They could get in a wild card with that record, but I got them 8 wins, 9 losses. That's the best I can do for Carolina. Now, if they get in, possibly Sam Darnold could get comeback player of the year. Head coach here, I forgot this guy's name. We'll look at his name. I like this head coach. He's creative. Trying to look at it. Matt Rule. Matt Rule's a very creative head coach. Now, Teddy Bridgewater on the way out said Matt Rule he didn't do enough red zone work. They didn't do enough red zone offense. He had a big criticism for that. Well, I'm sure Matt Rule heard that, and I like the red zone offense. So I'm sure he's worked on that. So they're going to be a dynamic team. Could they slide in? Possibly. I say possibly, but I think they're going to come up just short. There's too many good teams out west. I think Green Bay wins it in the north. And then, it looks like two of those four teams will make it. And then one other team out of the west was going to win that division. But Carolina, they have as good a shot as anybody to win a wild card. But I do definitely, you were playing in Tampa's division. Tampa is awesome. I'll talk about them here in a minute. And plus, I think they'll probably split with New Orleans, too. I don't think New Orleans is going to be that bad. New Orleans is not going to be the dumpster fire that I thought they would be. But they've definitely taken a step back, too. I do not have them as a playoff team. Yes, Winston's going to get the starting job. But check this out about Jameis Winston. He's played against Jacksonville, one of the worst teams in the league, and everybody's got him looking like this big-time player. But I'll say this about Saints. Mickey Loomis, the general manager, they were $100 million over the cap coming in. And this guy started cutting and moving, and they got under the cap. I don't know how he pulled it off, but they did. But they're now going to have Mike Thomas for the first month of the season. And Emmanuel Sanders is playing with Josh Allen in Buffalo. Lattimore, their best corner, he got in trouble. Some kind of gun charge or something like that in the offseason. There's a possibility he can get put on that commissioner's exempt list anytime, Pickles. Anytime. So, other losses by this Saints team. Quan Alexander, that sound familiar. Malcolm Brown, defensive tackle. Lost their guard, Nick Eason, at offensive line. Trey Henderson. Janoris Jenkins. He's the quarterback for the Titans. So you're going to be able to throw on them. Not going to have the best offensive line as they've had in the past. Now, I will say this. They found a way to keep guys like Cameron Jordan. Of course, they've got Traquan Smith. They're going to have to expect a lot out of him. And tight end. Jared Cook is elsewhere as well. Now, he wasn't that consistent from the get-go, but he was a talent. They still got guys like Marcus Davenport. I've mentioned Cameron Jordan already. Shy Tuttle. But, they just – and Winston, I'm just not sold on him. I just don't show. And, of course, Alvin Kamara. You got your running game there. So, the defense is taking a hit. The offensive line's taking a hit. Your decision-making at quarterback is anybody's guess. I got them at around 6-11. I know they're going to lose the opener. If you're a Saints fan, you're just hoping Rodgers would have held out and you'd go against Jordan Love. Well, that didn't happen. So, Rodgers is going to come down to New Orleans and smoke you just like he smoked you last year. So I got them losing that one. They play at Carolina. I got Carolina winning that game. At New England. Jameis Winston versus Bill Belichick's defense. Jameis Winston versus Bill. That's 0-3 right there. They beat the Giants at home. At Washington, best front defensive four in football. Good luck there. Got a bye week. Then you got to play at Seattle on a Monday night. I don't know if Jameis Winston can go up there and beat Russell Wilson. I know they did with Teddy Bridgewater a few years ago. And then they got Tampa at home, Atlanta, at Tennessee. I think they lose that one. They beat Philadelphia. Got Buffalo at home. Well, good luck beating Josh Allen this year. On Thanksgiving, it's going to be a good game there, Pickles. 7:30 Central Time. They could beat the Jets. I got them beating the Jets. Might beat Miami at home. But then they got to play Carolina. It's at home, but it's off of playing on Monday night. Then at Atlanta. I think Atlanta will split with them and beat them. So I got them about 6-11. If you're a Saints fan, and they're probably going to be looking for a quarterback, Winston's probably, my guess is he's not going to cut it. He's going to be a good backup. Guy's pretty talented. You can see his talent. But I don't think this Saints team, the more I think about it, that Carolina team, they're going to be interesting down the stretch. They could very well get that other wild card. The more I think about it, because I don't know about the East either. But, Washington's going to be good, and the Giants are going to be competitive. I don't think they're going to go. I don't like their offensive line. But that third wild card is going to be tough. Okay, Tampa. Early on, I was thinking there's no way Tampa's going to get back, and they're going to lose Levante David. They're going to lose Leonard Fournette. They'll probably lose Chris Godwin. Gronk will retire. And none of that stuff happened. This Tampa team, Pickles, brought back everybody. 11 starters on defense, 11 starters on offense. Ryan Suckup is kicker. They even got Gianni Bernard as a third running back, and they didn't even need him. That Ron Jones. I mean, if anything, they've gotten better at running back. Because last year, they had LaShawn McCoy. Well, LaShawn McCoy was washed up, man. 7 years ago, LaShawn McCoy had been great. But this team right here, Pickles, the Tampa Bay Bucks, I even got my red towel. I'm not even a Tampa Bay fan. The Tampa Bay Bucks, the head coaching lost 10 pounds. I mean, he just Bruce Arians lost 10 pounds. But you look at their schedule, it's 31st. How can you give the Super Bowl champions the 31st easiest schedule in the entire National Football League? Now, they open up against Dallas. Now, I was going to say this. If there was an issue with Dak Prescott and that game being the first Thursday of the season, and he still had a problem with his shoulder, I would say bench him, let him get better, put that other guy in there. You got 17 games, DaVinci or whatever his name is. You're going to lose the game anyways. You're going against this loaded team. You're at Tampa. You're huge underdogs. And then you got 10 days to prepare for the next game. You got 10 days to prepare for this, but that's not the case. But they're going to beat Dallas. They're going to beat Dallas. They're too much on offense, too much on defense. They've got Atlanta after that. Again, what I was talking about earlier, they got to go play at the Rams. Talking to guys that new people just jumped on here. You guys tune into the show 9 p.m. Central Time, sometimes a little bit before that. You can watch Sports Scope then. It's always recorded. I'm talking the Tampa Bay Bucks this year. I've got them winning the 1 seed. That's no breaking news, okay? In the South, the NFC, okay? But so they got Dallas to open up, Atlanta at home, at the Rams in week 3, and at New England. They'll lose one of them games. They will lose one of those games. So that'll give their first loss. They got Miami at home after that. They'll beat Miami. Check this out. Then they got to go play at Philadelphia, one of the worst teams in the league, even though it's a Thursday game. Chicago at home. Not this Chicago team. They'll beat up on Andy Dalton. By then, maybe it's Justin Fields. Beat up on either one of them. At New Orleans, then they got the bye week after Halloween. At Washington after the bye week, well, they'll beat Washington. Giants at home. Giants scared them last year. And then at the Colts. Now, that may be the other game, Pickles. That may be, as bound as I've been on the Colts, late in the season. By the way, Quentin Nelson's supposed to be practicing. Likely going to play week 1. Carson Wentz, supposed to be practicing. Likely going to play week 1. So I think that the Colts could beat them. At the Colts on November the 28th, that's Thanksgiving week. Now, I think that they can win that game because they're coming off a Monday night game and they're going on the road. Colts have a good defense, solid running game, solid offensive line. The Colts could upset them. So I think that's their second loss. And possibly their third loss at Atlanta and then Buffalo at home. Buffalo could go down there and beat them in December 12th. New Orleans then at Carolina, at the Jets, and then Carolina at home. I'm thinking 15-2, 14-3. I think this team's going to get the 1 seed. I mean, again, let's go over their tough opponents, okay? The Rams, New England, Miami's going to be tough. They're a pretty good team. Washington, at the Colts, Buffalo at home. And then you got a lot of the Jets, Carolina twice, Saints, in Atlanta. I mean, maybe Chicago. I don't know. But it's just not really that tough of it's not really that tough a schedule. Again, last year, I nailed it, Olivia. I had this team in the Super Bowl playing the Kansas City Chiefs. I overlooked the injuries on the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line, and they beat them. But I think if they would have had a full line, they would have got the ball downfield. Now, that being said, if Dak Prescott's a full participant leading up to that Thursday game, Pickles, they're going to move the ball on Tampa. They just can't beat Tampa. Tampa just keeps coming. Brady's going to be too much for them, But, this is 14-3, 15-2, 1 seed. I don't think that's a hot take. I really don't. Now, I'm putting off the AFC North and the AFC towards the end because I want to know every bit of detail about the AFC because I'm not sure. One day, Pickles, it's Buffalo. Next day, I think it's Cleveland. Think maybe Tennessee has a shot. Then I think go back to Cleveland again. Then I think about them Buffalo pass rushers and the additions they made. So one of them 3 teams. You can see I didn't say Kansas City. Didn't say Kansas City. I'm more confident in Tampa getting to the Super Bowl again. Clean slate. Than I am one of these other teams. As far as the NFC is concerned, yes, I'm really high on the 49ers. I think outside chance, your sleeper, you want to talk sleepers? Minnesota in the NFC. And possibly, with the right breaks, possibly Seattle. Seattle just didn't do enough at corner for me. That's why I'm very hesitant to say. But Seattle has won 12 games last year. And I will say, Pickles, they won 12 games the year before that. So Seattle's been close. Seattle has been close. But Seattle does not have the pass rush that they consistently need to win in this league, to get over the hump. But I do not like Green Bay. I think Green Bay has a bad schedule. They didn't have a win in the North. And the NFC East, you don't have enough balance on offense. They call the guy Mika Fitzpatrick for a reason, okay? Hold on. They call him Fitzmagic for a reason. The reason they call him that because he's on and off. Sometimes you see him, sometimes you don't. He's hot and cold, see? So I just don't have that much faith at the quarterback position. And what now? I'll say this. If Washington, and Ron Rivera said this, I'm surprised he did. But Ron Rivera said, we tried to get Matt Stafford. Now, if they would have got Matt Stafford, I would have had a shot. They would have definitely won the East for me. And I think they could have got to they would have been a big, strong Super Bowl contender, but that's not the case. I don't know enough about Taylor Heineke, and I know what you got with Ron Fitzpatrick. You got a hot and cold quarterback there. So I'm leaning Dallas to win that division, even with the information about Dak Prescott. I think he's going to come back now. They're saying they're taking him off the snap count. I think they're just being overly cautious. They paid Dak a ton of money. I'll talk the NFC East next week. I'm going to try to go over about 4 divisions, but I like to get into it. Just like I said, I think Carolina's going to be just short, just on the outside looking in. And before I look this over, Pickles, I was going to put in Carolina as a wild card. I may put in Washington as that wild card. I have to break down game by game. When are you playing a team on the road on Thursday? Are you playing a team at your place on a Thursday? You got a huge advantage there. Are you playing after you played a Monday night game? All those type of things come into consideration when you're doing wins and losses. And I'm pretty solid every year. The year before last, I had Green Bay in there. They made it to the NFC Championship game. And I had Kansas City. Yeah, I had Kansas City in that one as well. Of course, 49ers made it. Nobody picked Kansas City to beat the 49ers that year. And, of course, except for me, because I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. So tune in. I'll be back on Mac and Jack. I noticed that Jack is back 7:30 a.m. Central Time on the you can go to the Northeast Streaming Sports YouTube channel. You can see me talking This Week in Sports. I have no idea what they're going to be talking about. I'll be on there 7:30 a.m. Central Time Sunday. And I'll be back here around 9, probably a few minutes before, 10, 15 minutes before. If I got a show like tonight, going to go over one of the divisions. My guess is I'll probably go over the NFC East on Tuesday, and I may do 2 divisions. I may do the East and the West in the NFC. But basically, what I'm telling you is the Tuesday before 2 weeks from today, I'll have all my Super Bowl predictions and everything in there. Okay? I will have it on that Tuesday after Labor Day. We'll have everybody in next Thursday. We got college football. Can't wait. Really looking forward to seeing that Clemson-Georgia game. Looking forward to seeing that Minnesota-Ohio State game as well. If you like the show, please share the show. Thank you, Livia, for sharing the show. If you want to contribute to the program, go to the ZELLE app. Thank you, Pickles. And you can make a contribution to the word sports, the word SKOPE at gmail.com. The word is sports with an S, an additional S, KOPE at gmail.com. And I would greatly appreciate it. This stuff takes a lot of time, money, and effort, even though it is a fun job for me to do, even after working 12 hours a day. Love talking NFL. Can't wait, Pickles. Can't wait. Have a good night, everybody. I will see you next Tuesday. We'll be talking more NFL here on Sports Scope.